Hey guys, Tiaza here with FreeBalleDanceClasses.com. So today I want to do a quick video to talk about an article that was published on Salon.com called "Why I Can't Stand White Belly Dancers" by Randa Jarrar, who is an Arab writer from, I believe, from Kuwait, and she's written, I think, a couple books, and she does a lot of freelance writing for different websites, and Salon.com was one of the websites that she wrote her first article with, and called it "Why I Can't Stand White Belly Dancers." And the article has generated a lot of hateful comments. It generated a lot of hateful comments to the point that Randa Jarrar has published another article on Salon.com called "Why I Still Can't Stand White Belly Dancers." Kind of interesting. But anyways, what I found kind of interesting about this article by Randa was, first of all, I don't think Randa is a belly dancer herself, so it's a little bit tricky to kind of like try to talk about white belly dancers when you actually maybe don't hang out with them as often. She does live in the United States, I believe, and so yes, she does have a lot of interaction with white Americans who do things that are borrowed from other countries, you know, like belly dancing or eating tacos or whatever, you know. And her idea is like there is this cultural appropriation that she doesn't agree with very much. And as much, and I'm Arab myself, and so I do understand when Arabs criticize, you know, Western or Asian or Latino belly dancers, they usually criticize them for the lack of understanding of the culture and the music. And I personally have a little bit of an issue about this, and I did talk about it before in one of our belly talks, one of our coffee talks on the website, where I said, you know, I really can't stand it when people sing or to a song, or kind of like lip sync an Arabic song that they don't understand and they don't speak the language, or that they perform to a song that they don't understand, because the song could be about something that normally you shouldn't be dancing to, right? Because a lot of Arabic music is also painful music. It's music about pain and suffering, because there's so many wars and occupation and occupied territories and so on. So there's a lot of music and songs about that, about the killings, about the pain, the sadness, the loss of loved ones. And the music and the beat might sound to like a Western person as if it is something you can dance to, but really you can't, like when you listen to the song. So the beat necessarily doesn't tell you whether this is a happy song or not. It's really the lyrics. So understanding the lyrics is important. And a lot of Arab belly dancers do perform to the lyrics as much as they do to the beat. Western belly dancers usually will perform to the beat rather than to the lyrics, and in fact most of the time they don't even care. There are very careful and considerate belly dancers in the Western world that would not perform to a song that has a lyrics. They will only perform to music, and that's respectful. You know, you choose the safer route when you don't want to do the wrong thing, and that's very good. So anyways, I do have some issues, and I think with it myself, but I think there are things that you could never overcome easily. You know, understanding the language and the culture. I mean, you can't do that unless you live in that country. So it's not something you have to force on people. It's like you can't do this art form or this dance unless you are part of this culture. It's like saying you can't salsa dance unless you're Latino, or unless you're Cuban. You know, it's nonsense. I really don't believe that that's right. I think that people, no matter what their culture is or where they live, could love something, and if they do, they should be able to experience it themselves and feel the love for it themselves. You know, being born in a certain culture shouldn't be, you know, a ticket to being able to enjoy certain things, and if you're not, then you can't. I mean, it's silly. So the idea of cultural appropriation is not something I personally agree with. Not only that, but I think actually on the flip side of it all, I think it is to the benefit of the Arab culture, okay, and the Middle Eastern culture, that there are so many white girls that actually belly dancing. You know, it should be a compliment to the culture and to the dance and to the music, okay? There is, of course, you know, other issues that come up with that. And I did post one video one time before when I talked about the idea of xenophobia and racism in the belly dance world, and how there are so many belly dancers out there that actually hate Arabs completely. In fact, they totally dislike anything Arab, and they think that Muslims and Arabs are just like, you know, trash of the world, and yet they belly dance, you know. So to me that was like a very confusing idea. Like, how could you possibly hate a culture completely that bad, but yet love something so beautiful that comes from it, like belly dance and emulation music? It's like so many people that like that are so racist in America, and you know, totally hate black people, but say that I love jazz music. It's like something as beautiful as jazz music came from the black culture to start with. So it's not something I personally understand, but it does exist, you know, the xenophobia and racism, along with appreciation of the music and dance and art that comes from that culture that you totally hate from a cultural standpoint. Very crazy to me, but it does exist. It's a phenomenon that exists in the Western culture, and it's very visible in America specifically. But I do believe that when somebody appropriates, it's not really, I mean, appropriation is such a strong word sometimes, like I'm stealing it from you, it's no longer yours. It's silly. But I think when people borrow certain arts and love it and dance it and call themselves a belly dancer, or call themselves a jazz musician, or call themselves a salsa dancer, even though those dance forms and those artistic expressions comes from a completely different culture than their own, I think it is truly an honor, you know, for that culture and that style of music and dance. I think it's something that, for me as an Arab, when I see other Arabs around the world that are totally not associated with their culture anymore, like maybe their parents were Arab, but they're like living in a completely different culture where they've never really visited an Arab country in their life, but they continue on the tradition of loving and performing and learning this art. I think it's such an honor to my culture. You know, I think of it as just a beautiful thing for my culture. You know, same thing as I think that non-Arabs at all, people that have absolutely no Arab heritage, you know, white belly dancers or Latinos or Asians, and there's so many Asians around the world that love the art of belly dancing and perform it. When they borrow that style and they learn it and they dance and they perform it to the point where they become professional at it, I think it's such an honor to my culture. I don't think of it as appropriation, because I don't like that term, but I don't also think about it as, you know, I don't know, I don't think about it as like, oh, you're doing something you don't understand. Yeah, maybe you don't understand everything about it. Okay, you should be doing it the right way, like not understanding the lyrics and dance to non-lyrical music, right? So you can do it the right way, and you can still do it beautifully, and you can still be admired by Arabs themselves, can look at you and be like, oh my god, you're Chinese, but you're doing my dance so beautifully, and I just love watching you dance, maybe even more than any other Arab belly dancer I've ever seen. So just being from a different culture doesn't mean you can't perform the art. It does mean you can't possibly understand everything about it, and that's fine, but you can't do it or say, I can't stand you, or I hate you, or all this stuff. I think it's such a strong statement, and it is truly one of the things I personally dislike about Arabs so much. And I can say this because I'm Arab, and I grew up in that culture where people are just like all about, no, this is mine, you can't. It's like we criticize so many things about our culture as Arabs within us, our Arabs, but when other people do it, or borrow it from us, or talk about it, or criticize about us, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you can't do that, you have no right. It's so silly. It's such a silly Arab concept, which is like, oh well, our dirty laundry is only done within our own people, and when we go outside our people, we can't talk like that. Why? I mean, that's a lie. You know, I'll tell you everything that I like about Arabs and everything I hate about Arabs to everybody, whether you're Arab or not. I don't care. I don't get the concept. I really never did. You know, maybe I'm just so weird and different in that way. But a lot of Arabs have this mentality. It's like, we do our thing, it's our thing, but when other people want to do our thing, it's not their thing, and therefore we're going to criticize. What is wrong with you? Like, I don't get that. That is wrong, and it should be an honor when somebody wants to do something that is part of your culture. You should be honored by that, you know? And not only that, but like any dance form, any art form in this world, in the history of mankind, that has survived, that to the point where we have it today, has survived and lasted so long because other people borrowed it. Not because your own people did it forever, it's because other culture has appropriated it. That is what makes so many things last in this world. You know, the reason belly dancing is so alive till today is because we changed it. It's because we made it so we could change. You know, evolution is necessary in the survival of any art and dance form in this planet. So if a white person does it in a way that you don't like or you don't agree with it, or it's not the way you grew up doing it, it's not a wrong thing. It is what makes it survive eventually. It is what makes it last and becomes popular, and it's what's going to make it so it is here for other people to enjoy maybe a century from now. So you should be honored and you should be glad that somebody is appropriating something that is not their own and changing and making it different, because it is what's going to make it last. Anyways, done. I don't want to talk about this any longer because it's been like this, I don't know, just like all belly dancers all of a sudden did this over this article. As much as I understand it, because I'm Arab, like I get her point, where she's coming from, but I think her point was a little bit too strong to the point where it made other people dislike it and dislike her and dislike the entire idea of it without understanding maybe what she comes from. So anyways, I don't know if she even comes from anything else but the fact that she just simply hates white belly dancers. I don't know. It's very interesting. The articles, I'm going to be putting the links to the two articles that she published. One called, you know, Why I Can't Stand White Belly Dancers. The other one was called Why I Still Can't Stand White Belly Dancers, because of all the feedback that she received after she published that article on Salon.com. So I'm going to put the links to those articles. Feel free to read them and let me know what you think. You know, do you think she went too far? Do you think she has a good point? Let's talk about it, because I think it's a very interesting concept that very often is not very widely talked about, especially amongst Arab belly dancers. So it's good that somebody actually started a conversation. We continue on that conversation, whether it's a good one or a bad one. Don't want too much negative, obviously, from it, because I don't like anything negative in my life in general. But it's a very interesting concept, and I think we can only share a feedback about it for so long, and then we have to stop. So, but I would love to hear your comments, so post them below this video. Give me a thumbs up if you love white belly dancers, like I do. I'll see you guys next time in the next video on Belly Talk on freebellydance.com. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch the other free belly dance classes on the website. See you then. Bye.